Welcome back, children, once again. This is Ansu here. This time, we are going to discuss about Chapter 3, more on Windows 7. Let's go through it one by one, shall we? In today's session, I would like to talk about Control Panel and Date and Time settings. Let's go through the introduction now, shall we? The task of managing files, folders, and applications has been simplified in Windows with the help of Control Panel and Recycle Bin. That is, what all files that you are having in your system, what all applications you are having in your system, all these are managed with the help of a control panel in the system as well as the Recycle Bin. They form an essential part of the operating system. They are a very important part of your operating system. What are they? They are the control panel and the recycle bin. Let's look at it one by one. Control panel. The control panel is a system folder that allows you to make changes in the appearance and current settings of the Windows. You know that most of the systems that you use are having a Windows operating system. So, based on that, everything that is being run in Windows is controlled by a panel called Control Panel. That folder helps you to make changes in the appearance and current settings of your computer. What are current settings? What you see now. You can change it into another view afterwards with the help of a control panel. These settings include what are the settings that are available? Appearance and personalization of the desktop. That is how your desktop looks like. You can change the picture of your desktop. You can even put your personal photo also on the desktop. Anything that you want on the desktop can be manipulated or changed. Hardware and software setup and configuration means you can change the hardware of the system as well as the software of the system. You can add new softwares to your system and also you can add new hardware also to your system. System and security. It controls your system as well as the security of your system. Means that it keeps your system safe. Networking and internet. That is, all the internet activities are also controlled by the control panel. User accounts, which all people can access these accounts and use this. All these are controlled by the control panel. Setting clock, language, and region. Which region are you staying in? What language are you using? Some people are familiar with Malayalam, so they like to see everything in Malayalam. Some people like Hindi, they like to see it in Hindi. But most of the people use the common language, that is English. You can set it as per your requirement. Now we need to discuss how to open a control panel. There are two different ways to open the control panel. Let me explain the first one. When you open your computer system, on the bottom left hand side, you can see the start button. That is the button you click to shut down your system, right? So you're familiar with it. You have to click on the start button. A list appears. That is the start menu. On that, you have to click on the control panel option. When you click on the control panel option, the control panel of your computer appears or the control panel window appears. Let me explain it one more time. You have to click on the start button, which is in the bottom left corner of your system. The startup menu comes. From that, you have to click the control panel option. Your control panel appears. Another option is double click on the computer icon on the desktop. You have to look for a computer icon on your desktop, click on it. You have to double click on it. The computer window appears. From the pane below the address bar, click on Open control panel option. The control panel window appears. In the computer window, you can see an option called Open Control Panel. Click on it. The control panel window appears. Now let's talk about the control panel. The items on the control panel window can be set to appear either as icons or as groups under categories. That is, you can display the control panel things in two ways. You can either display it as icons. Icons are the ones that you see on the desktop, small names given to files that you are storing, small images that is given for your files, that they are called the icons. Otherwise, you can divide it into groups under categories. That is, you can divide them into different categories depending on which section it depends on. The desktop activities can be put together. The hardware components can be put together. All these things can be separated into different categories. You can switch between the views. That is, you can either view it as icons or you can view it as categories, and you can switch between that. You can either see it in this way or the other way. Now let's see the steps to change the view of the control panel. First thing that we need to do is we have to open the control panel. The control panel window appears. Then from that you have to look for a drop down arrow to expand view by drop down list. That is the expand view by drop down list. When you click on that, you will get the drop down list. From that you have to click the category option. Look for the category option. In that you can find large icons or small icons. If you want the large icons, you can click on large icons. If you want the small one, you can click on the small one options from that. Okay, so the option's name is large icons or small icons option. Now we need to go through how to set the date and time. Date and time are an important part of the computer operating system. That is, it is very important. The time and the date of the system should be always be synchronized with the current date and time. Incorrect date and time may cause hindrance in using some applications. You will not be able to use certain applications if it is having an incorrect date and time. You can set the time and date of the system manually or automatically. You can either set it by yourself, that is manually, or you can make the system do it automatically. The control panel has an option that allows you to change computers' date and time. In the control panel, there is an option called date and time. With that, you can change the system date and time by yourself manually. Now we need to go through the steps to change the date and time. Open the control panel. That is the first step. You need to open the control panel. In that, you have to look whether the control panel is in the category view, not the large icon and small icon view. It should be in the category view. Select the clock, language and region category. The clock, language and region window appears. Under the date and time section, click the set the time and date option. The date and time dialog box appears. That is, you have to look for date and time section. In that, set the time and date option you have to look for. In that, when you click it, you get the date and time dialog box. The name of the box that appears is called a dialog box. Click the change date and time button. The date and time settings dialog box appears. That is, when you click on the change date and time option, the date and time settings dialog box appears. In that, you can select the required date from the calendar. You have to click on the calendar on the date that you want, and then with your cursor you can move the arrows of the time spin box to set the required time. Once you have set the date and the time, you can press OK. Let me explain it one more time. You have to open the control panel. In that, you have to make sure it is in the category view. Once it is in the category view, look for clock, language and region category. Click on it. Then the clock, language and region window appears. In that, you have to look for the date and time section. In that, you can find set the time and date option. Then when you click on it, the date and time dialog box appears. Then in that there are different options. You have to look for change date and time button. The date and time settings dialog box appears. Then from that you have to change the date in the calendar, and with your cursor you have to move the arrows of the spin box to get the required time and click OK. With that, we come to the end of today's presentation. Please go through these portions very clearly and understand. We have only one more portion in this chapter, that is the recycle bin, which will be explained in the next presentation for you. These are the basics. You should know that. Thank you.